Hi. As you see from the title of this video, I'm doing something that I don't know if I've ever done, or really maybe I've done it but haven't done it for a while, but I thought I would touch on it. I want to talk about anxiety around homeschooling. And I'm just going to preface by saying that I don't have a whole lot of solutions, and I'm not professional, even though I'm in school getting my master's for clinical counseling. I'm not a professional counselor or anything like that yet, but I just want to just kind of share my own personal experience on it and just kind of talk through it. And if y'all identify or, understand or have experienced anything like this, can you guys let me know below? Okay, so as y'all know, I'm homeschooling my only child, and she's in fifth grade currently. And there are a myriad of anxieties that I've been experiencing. So I do use the word anxiety and on purpose. So I am a Christian, and so what I'm going to talk to you is obviously from that perspective. So even though we are to be anxious for nothing, and I believe that the word that it does say that, and I believe it, and I pray about this, and write scriptures down, and focus on it and believe in it. I have to admit that I still do experience anxiety, um, in particular parts of my life, but also heavily around the topic of homeschooling. So I would say that, I have maybe two or three the biggest anxieties, and I'll just start kind of more general because I think that a lot of people experience this particular anxiety that I'm about to say. The anxiety that your child is not going to be smart, or is not going to learn enough, or they're somehow going to fall behind. Um, and I talked to several other homeschoolers, and especially ones that just start off, and that's like their number one thing. And then, especially when you talk to family members or friends that are around you that are not homeschooling their kid, they have that fear, and they impose that fear on you. Whether, even though I realize, now I'm a little bit better at handling that anxiety, but I remember first starting out, it definitely affected me, bothered me, worried me, and I feel like I had to like overcompensate or try to overcompensate um, with Riley's schoolwork, or I don't know, putting her into this thing or that thing, or starting this thing, or doing this book or that book, or this online program, in order to let others see that my child is not behind. My child is just as smart as your child, even though your kids or your children are not homeschooled. So what I did to combat that, and I started employing this I think around third or fourth grade, is that I would, in the summertime, in my rest period between school, um, I would ask God, what do you want me to focus on this year for Riley? So besides, the core academic things that we do naturally focus on, whether you're in school or homeschooled, right? I would ask God, what do you want me to focus on this year? And I would get, two or three things that he wanted me to pinpoint, and one or two sometimes would be very academic, and then there would be another one that would not be academic. It'd be something completely different that I felt mandated to focus on for my child. And with that mandate and with that beautiful piece, I was able to just go throughout the school year and say, okay, we're going to do math, language arts, and science, and geography, and social. We're going to do all those subjects, but you know what? My mandate and my main focus are these three things. Do we have these three things? Are we consistent in those three things? Are we improving in those three things? And if we are, then I'm good. It doesn't matter if Riley isn't as academically um, rigorous or elevated as this boy that I know that goes to school, or this girl that I know. It doesn't matter. If God is in it, then it doesn't matter. But not to say that, the first couple years it was like that, and especially the pressure that I felt from my own family, sometimes my own husband, and not maliciously, of course, but just the feeling of like, you know, she's homeschooled, she has to be better, she has to be better. And that was definitely the mindset that I felt coming at me, was that she's homeschooled, she just has to be better, she has to be better than her public school counterparts, so she needs to do this and this well. And when Riley wasn't the best at something, or didn't do well at this, or needed help in this, or she had her weaknesses in this area and that area, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, it was a problem. I felt a lot of pressure on me to get her up, or to try to, but that definitely dissipated when I started seeking God as to what He wanted me to do, and not to worry that she wasn't going to be like her classmates, or she doesn't have classmates, but you know what I mean. Another anxiety or worry that I've also had, and why I always talk about being I have an only child, and I talk about it a lot on this channel because I believe it's a niche, and I believe that, I don't see it a whole lot, but I am always encouraged in the comments when somebody pops up and says, "Hey, I only have one kid too," or if I see it on Instagram and they say, "I only have one child, I have one boy, one girl," whatever. It's just really good for us to kind of stick together. I do worry about her being lonely, or her not having enough to do, or, it drains me, being an introvert that I am, and, all of my energy, is, given to her when it comes to education. I am primarily responsible for her education. I've always been. I don't say that, I'm not saying that my husband isn't involved at all. Like, he is to an extent, but for the most part, I have been home, or working from home, or working part time, where I have more flexibility in my schedule. My husband has not always had that. That situation, and I am primarily the one that's educating her. So this is a big one. If she is given a math problem and she doesn't get it, or she gets it wrong, I was taking it personally, like I'm the one that, it's my fault that she's not getting it, and I would beat up on myself, like inside, and I would feel total anxiety and stress because she wasn't getting the math problem. And it's not just math. Around second or third grade, we started really focusing on Riley's spelling, because I started to see that she'd have trouble spelling words, and then she would refrain from writing because she was afraid to make mistakes. So we started focusing on spelling, like hammering it. I forget which year, second or third, and that was again one of the mandates that I got from the Lord, was, okay, focus on her spelling in this way. So we really hammered in, and I really saw a difference at the end of the year. But again, when her spelling was waning at the beginning, I felt pressure. I got the question, why didn't she have that, or why didn't she get that? And man, the pressure that I felt, it was crazy. And it really made homeschooling not fun, and stressful for me. And as a result, for Riley too, because she probably felt my stress. So for that, what I would say is to not compare your children. Especially as an only child, you have that fear of socialization. Oh my gosh, what are they, oh, they're going to be bored. Not comparing, we have a bunch of friends who have kids who are in the public school system, which Riley is friends with. And it's something that I have taken to do is not compare my child with someone else's child. And but what's very interesting is when you go in you're in a homeschooling community. Um, Interestingly enough, we joined a co-op. There were hundreds of kids here, and it was very interesting to see other kids, varying ages, all of them homeschooled. Some of them were only kids, and some of them had multiple kids in the family. And to see, what their academic levels were, what their socialization levels were, what their interests were, what their talents, what their strengths and weaknesses, you could see that because I was teaching in the co op as well. I had the privilege to do that. And guess what? They're all varying. Some kids that you may consider bright, as you may consider, and some kids were just median, right there where they should be. And then some kids maybe just needed to like get pushed a little bit to get on top of that, to be in the median again. It didn't matter. It's definitely difficult when you have family and close friends who are like monitoring your kid for you. And comment below, because you know what happens. They monitor your kid, and it's like, can they read like my child? My child's in school. Can your child read? But I was lucky, or I should say blessed enough, to be around a lot of friends who would lift up Riley. Riley's so smart. She's so talented. Oh my gosh, she's so creative. And it was just positive. So, if you are around people who are kind of negative and maybe putting you down and making you feel, kind of doubting what you're doing as a homeschooling parent, try to seek out people who are going to try to lift you up and that you can lift up as well. So I would say, because this is a long video, I would say like those are the main anxieties and the pressures that I feel, but they're big, right? They're big and they encompass a lot, because we love our kids and we want to make sure they're doing fine and we want to make sure they're doing well. But yeah, as a parent, you feel the pressure. But I've been at this now this is my 6th year of homeschooling an only child, and man, I've learned a lot. And it's also a blessing to be in a place where I can encourage others. I just was talking to a mom who is going to start homeschooling her kid, and I was able to encourage her and say, do these things right here, keep it very simple. Your daughter's in kindergarten, it's going to work out. You're doing a good job, mom, so far. You're gathering your resources. You're on top of this. You've got this. And I would say the same to you. If you have any questions or you can identify what I'm talking about, let me know.